Good morning and welcome to another episode of Bold Business. I'm David Grosso from Gen FKD, a nonprofit dedicated to helping millennials navigate the new economy. We have a very special guest here today as my co-anchor, fellow Floridian.
Yes, high five.
What's up, Morgan Ortagus? How are you?
Go Florida.
Go Florida. I'm about to go there right after the show.
I'm going there soon.
So anyway, Morgan wears many hats. Enough about me. She's a financial intelligence expert, former financial diplomat, and a national security analyst. How have you done all that already?
I mean, I'm older than I look.
Really? You're Benjamin Button? You're going backwards?
Hopefully, according to my dermatologist.
Well, I need to take your skincare tips anyway. We always kick off Bold Business with a segment we like to call Headlines. And to get that conversation started, we have Frankie McLister, a journalist for Circuit Campus and Gen FKD, and a student at Arizona State University. Good morning, Frankie.
Yes, hey, how are you guys?
Student.
Yes, yep, I'm a sophomore.
Oh my God, I feel old.
So I'm from the western warm part of the country, not the eastern.
So, but the three is, I've never had a cold Christmas. Growing up in Florida, you're in Arizona, right?
I know cold Christmas.
All I know is Christmas in shorts.
Now, it's funny you say that because I'm from Maryland, northwest of D.C., and so I'm on winter break right now. Oh. And so when you hear Christmas music and everything at the beginning of December, when I'm still there, it just doesn't sink in until I fly home and feel that.
I love warm Christmas. My best type of Christmas is one in the Caribbean. But anyway, so let's get going with our first segment. Our first headline is from CNBC and is about how economic optimism is boosting President Trump's approval rating. The CNBC All-America Economic Survey found that more than half of independents approved of the president's economic stewardship. The survey also found that Americans are upbeat about the economy. More than 40% expect their wages to rise and their home values to increase next year. So my question is, do you buy into this rosy economic outlook, and do you feel like the good economy is helping the president? Frankie.
Yeah, I mean, what I was telling you before, it's like I feel like the economy is somewhere where it's never really been before. There's just a lot going on. I feel like a lot of it I don't even understand. But yeah, I mean, to answer that question right off the bat.
So Morgan, you remember the Great Recession a little better than this young man.
Right.
I was at the Treasury Department,
Yeah,
in the middle of that.
Wow, during the financial crisis. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Do you really think the economy is helping out President Trump?
So I think it's the chicken or the egg, right? Is the economy helping Trump, or is Trump's presidency helping the economy? I think if you talk to a myriad of business owners, whether it's corporate CEOs or small business owners, people are saying that they're feeling the weight of less regulation. People are excited about the tax cut. I mean, this is a fundamental change, what we're seeing in the tax cut, taking it down into the low 20s permanently. So I think this is going to be a huge boon to business, and I actually think that the optimism around the economy is because of the policies and the deregulation that this administration has set forth.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of people would agree with you, Morgan.
Yeah, no, I was going to tell you, so my dad is in home mortgages, and back during that whole recession, my family definitely felt the effects of that, and now these days, he cannot complain right now. So through like my family's background, like seeing the housing market part of it, it's definitely improved on his end, but for now, fluctuates that.
And
industry.
Frankie, that is always the million-dollar question, how long the economy is going to stay good.
Right.
Let's move on to our next headline. Our next headline is from the Wall Street Journal and is about how Amazon.com has triggered a race to the bottom in smart speakers. Amazon has continuously slashed prices on its new lineup of Echo devices, leading Google to do the same. In response, Apple has delayed the rollout of its own line of home speakers in light of the cutthroat competition. The article also points out that consumers may be reluctant to pay a premium for them because few of us have truly integrated these devices into our home through products such as smart lights and smart appliances. So, do you guys have a home speaker, Morgan?
I don't. I was thinking about getting one, but I don't. I'm a little concerned about the privacy aspect of it. Like, does all of your personal business, does the Alexa sort of blurt it out? So I'm on the fence. But now that they're so cheap, I may, right? There's a price for everything.
Right. And you've heard...
You did a story on this, Frankie.
I did. So Arizona State University, we have a residence hall where they partnered with Amazon, and Amazon donated Amazon Echoes to every student who lives in this brand new residence hall. Yeah.
Now there it is, Frankie, up on the screen.
Yeah, right there. It's a super cool story. If anybody has a chance to check it out, it's really cool. But they're trying to integrate, students to use the Echo to set a school calendar or set an alarm to help students in the convenience
so it's like
aspect.
having your mother with you.
Right. But I was going to say, so I find this really interesting. I used to have an Amazon Echo. I ended up selling it. You hear rumors and you've seen articles and everything about the privacy aspect. And, as much as I feel like I should worry about that, a lot of times with technology, I just am like, if they hear me, they hear me, So I sold it. I wasn't using it as enough that I thought I would. I'm excited for Apple's HomePod, personally.
You're an
They're
Apple
so
boy.
cheap.
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they're 30 or 50 bucks, like,
Right. And I
that's
find
a couple
that.
drinks in New York.
Like 1.5.
Exactly. It's not even 2 cocktails.
And I find the Echo Dot like just a strategy for the company. Like, oh, they're so cheap, so everybody's going to buy them. But when they buy them, they're going to use Amazon more because that's what it's made for.
I don't know if I could possibly use Amazon more
I
than
can't
already
either.
use
That
them.
was
Right.
my response.
I know everything about my life.
Yeah.
Even my groceries.
Oh, my groceries come from Amazon
Not
too.
that I really
You get Prime Pantry and Prime. Have you used Prime Now?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Oh, it's
I've
incredible.
had whole
Yeah.
parties on Prime now.
Yeah. Right.
Prime
I didn't
Video.
invite it.
I'm Mr. Prime. Well, next time, Morgan. So moving on to our last headline, it comes from to us from the Washington Post, not the Wall Street Journal. Gee whiz, and is about the effects of loneliness on your wealth. On your health? How did wealth get in there? Research in this field, loneliness is bad for wealth too. Research in this field has revealed something that many already suspected. Lonely people are more likely to get sick and have more trouble bouncing back from health challenges. Loneliness appears to cause inflammation and neurological and genetic changes. So my question for you both, are you surprised loneliness kills?
No.
In my opinion, no. No. I'm a people person. I am. I love constantly being with people, but sometimes, again, I'm a student. Sometimes going home at the end of a rough day or something at school, I'm always like screaming like something to my roommate or
I have
something.
a solution for this, for everybody who's lonely. And I mean this
Lots
sincerely.
of Tinder.
Get a dog. I have 2 dogs. I love them more than life. And if I get home and my husband's not there or no one's there, then I cuddle up with the doggies and get a dog or a cat. Plenty of cat people out there.
And there's tests there. I've definitely read things on social media that dogs create like a percent of happiness.
I love them more than most people.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I truly.
I think my mother would agree with that statement.
Yeah.
She loves her
Smart
dogs more than
lady.
anything. Yeah. I don't know. I think loneliness is really bad, and I think pooch companionship is great, but I still think there's no
Yeah.
substitute for other humans in your life.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I couldn't imagine sometimes coming home at the end of the day to no roommate, just after like.
Roommate. He's such an
Right, I know, but
I can't imagine coming home to a roommate.
right, definitely different stages, but especially if it's been a rough day, it's like you're just like sitting alone, nobody around, so I
Scrolling
can
through
see where that
Facebook,
comes
feeling
from.
sorry for yourself.
Right, right.
Yeah, well, social media is part of that problem, creating loneliness. Frankie McLister, student
Yeah.
at Arizona State University.
You
We're
are so
watching
cute.
you.
Yeah.
You're going to be a
I mean-
news anchor soon, so
Oh,
be on
we'll
the
see.
lookout.
I mean, broadcast journalism is what I'm studying, so we'll see if that actually is what I achieve, but we'll see.
Well, you're here at Bold, so you're well on your way.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you, Frankie.
Yeah.
Happy everything.
Thank you. Yep, you as well.
Our next guest is a social media influencer and a television host. She's a graduate of the Parsons School of Design and worked at many of the world's flagship fashion houses. Go ahead, Morgan. You were supposed to read this.
Including my favorites, Prada, Dolce & Gabbana, Versace, Louis Vuitton, and Fendi. Avanti Gupta is here to talk about her career journey and her forays into creating video content. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
So tell us about your work.
Okay, so I studied at Parsons, and while I was there and after, I worked at a lot of luxury fashion brands. And, every single experience really helped me learn more about fashion. It helped me develop my style. And I felt like, I really want to share my experiences. I have a fashion insider's perspective. I'm so lucky to be in New York, to be working at these brands, and I think people find that interesting. So I started to, showcase my style, my travel, and my Instagram, and really started to just take it from there.
Okay, so Avanti, I'm wearing Prada, where you worked at. So this is.
Oh,
much
I was
fancier than I am,
thinking.
Morgan.
I was going to say that's a very nice blazer.
But I got it at Century 21.
It doesn't matter. It's beautiful.
You're smart, Morgan.
Yeah.
Deal. What can I say? So,
Yes.
but I'm curious what you think about how the average American can relate to you when you're working in these high fashion brands, and they're quite expensive. I mean, as I said, I feel like I make a decent amount of money, and even I shop at Century 21 to get the high-end brands. So how do you make these high fashion brands relatable to everyday Americans?
So I think that a lot of Instagram is about kind of showing people an escape. showing people inspiration. So it's not necessary that you have to wear the top brands. It's just that you're getting inspiration, you're being inspired, you're seeing exciting images, good aesthetic, good style, and then you can kind of apply that into your own life in however way you want to. So it's not necessary that you have to shop at the top brands. And yes, I think people can always find deals. I'm always at sample sales, so it's not like I'm not doing
They
that.
pop up all over New York.
Yeah, I mean,
that's one thing
especially
about New York.
sample sales are amazing, but I think it's also about just being a little bit aspirational as well. But I think people are interested to see the world through my lens, and maybe it'll inspire them to work in fashion as well.
I mean, your lineup of brands sounds like a Fergie song. I mean, that's like every brand known to mankind. It's like all the shops on Rodeo Drive in LA. What did you learn from working at all those brands?
Well, I learned, again, I learned a lot about style. Every single brand helped me grow my style and learn more about fashion, tailoring, and also learning the differences between each of the brands. You know, I think a lot of times, unless you're really being exposed to the clothing, you're not really able to differentiate the differences between the brands. So I think that was really exciting. And then also, it's just, there's so much beauty. It's all about art. So I think it really just inspires you to be creative constantly and be always finding new ways to look at things.
So no matter what you think about Trump, Melania is like the best dressed first lady ever, I think. I mean, she's a model. She looks perfect. And tell me what you think about her style. And do you think that she's an influencer in how she dresses? I just think she looks amazing all the time. Not that we should be judging a first lady just off of that, but her fashion is quite
First lady
impeccable.
should be free of politics.
Yeah, I agree.
Of course, yeah.
Well, I think her fashion is very, I find it to be a bit conservative, so it's more guarded. It's more of what you would expect. So it's more expected in terms of the shapes. It's very structured looks, very safe. So yes, I mean, she looks great, but I do think that it's what would be expected of somebody in that role.
As compared to someone, Michelle Obama, you found her to be conservative as well in her dress?
I actually found her taking more risks with her fashion. I think it was also because she was more focused on American designers as well. So, and I think American designers often can be very fun and playful. And I think that sometimes she allowed herself to have a little bit more fun with her fashion.
Yeah. Well, maybe she'll get there.
Maybe.
Melania will get there.
Ivanka seems a bit more risky, doesn't she?
She does.
Yeah, she has great style. But she always has. She was a model too, so.
Yeah, and she's got the shoe line.
Yeah.
And a dress. I was in Mar-a-Lago on Saturday night at a birthday party.
How
and
was that? You're one of those people.
I am. I actually wore an Ivanka Trump dress that I got here in Bloomingdale's in New York.
And how'd it look?
I mean, I think it looked great. I hope it looked great.
So, if you're an aspiring Instagram influencer, how'd you do it? Because a lot of people, we just want that viral button where we just want to go wah and make all our stuff go viral. How did you do it?
So I think a lot of it is about being yourself. You know, people don't want to see, a lot of photos on Instagram start to look the same these days, and people don't want to see an over-edited, perfect travel image. They want to see that destination through your lens. So I think it's less about being perfect, but more about being authentic, being yourself. For me, I really wanted to show my style, and again, I have access to all these great brands and their clothing and bags. So I think it's just fun for me to show my style, to show my vision, and also you get to be your own art director, your own stylist. So I think the most important thing is to be authentic and not really worry about being perfect all the time.
And what kind of, which photo do you think has had the most reaction, or, which Instagram picture do you think resonated most with your followers?
I think the photos that resonate the most are ones where I have, a cool outfit on and it's like a nice pose, or if it's kind of a close-up of me smiling. I think people like to feel connected to you. That's what they want. They want to feel like they know who you are. It's all about storytelling. You're telling your story through images, and I think it's just important to try to create a connection with people.
The one thing, though, I don't like about on Instagram, though, is that some of the risque stuff, especially the
it's
younger
super
girls.
risque.
Yeah.
I see friends like teenage daughters this
No.
week. It makes me sound really old. But some of the stuff, I'm like, my God, this is going to live on the internet forever. So
I know.
I could do without
No
some
regrets,
of the risque stuff.
right?
Yeah.
No regrets.
I mean, that's a way that a lot of girls are getting more followers too, but
Not the right
a lot
way.
of
Not the
boys
right way,
too,
though.
Avanti.
Yeah.
It cuts across both
That's very
genders.
true,
yeah,
very true.
Especially like the gym guys are like, oh,
yes.
big. Drink this protein shake. You know how
Yeah.
it goes. Yeah. So,
Not into that.
So Avanti, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We'll be on the lookout for you.
Yes.
Next, we welcome an entrepreneur to Bold Business. Ali Mahvan is a CEO and co-founder of Sharebert, which is an app that allows you to browse products from almost every store online. Great idea. How'd you think of it?
Thank you. I appreciate that. A lot of Googling. That's a lot of Googling. Yeah. We're like the Tinder of shopping.
Yeah, you swipe left and right.
You swipe left and right. So you know how when you're on Tinder, you see somebody you don't like, you just swipe away. You don't have to see
I
them.
don't know. I've never been on Tinder. I've been with the same man for 11 years, so I totally missed
You're a
that boat.
good woman, Morgan.
I wouldn't even know what to do now. If I
It's
was on
easy. You just
Tinder.
go left and you go right.
Oh
so,
my God.
so think of it.
Good.
Think of it like when you're at the store. Like as you look at each product on the shelf, in your mind, you're kind of doing that left and right swipe, and you're like, oh, I don't like this, and you're just passing by things you don't like. When you find something you do like, you're like, oh, I'm gonna remember where that is. I might buy that before I leave.
So I go on Amazon every single day to buy stuff. I think, oh, I forgot my face cream. I need to get this. I need to do that. I could do that on your site.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
then and I could compare, I assume, several different prices of my face cream, for example.
So what you'll actually be able to do is find out. All right. A lot of times when I'm buying something, I'm like, oh, I wonder if Amazon has this.
Yeah.
Right. So when you search on Sharebert, you know everybody who has it. So you know if Amazon has it. You know if Best Buy has it. So we have like 15,000 partners right now. We took advantage of some advertising networks and like individual deals we did. We're a partner of Amazon, which allows people to like check out with their Amazon Prime. So
When did you launch?
we just launched Android version about, I think, the week before Black Friday.
You've been
Oh,
a busy
wow.
man lately.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we've been working on this for a year and a half. So our iOS version should be out by end of January.
That'll be big.
It's gonna be
I-
huge.
I have-
yeah.
I can already use it. I'm an Android.
Yeah.
I'm not an Android.
Yeah, well.
We love Androids. Yeah, it's been a lot of work, but it's amazing. It's a lot of fun.
How many users do you have so far?
Right now we have 260 monthly users. We have 15 people using the app every single day.
You just launched a few weeks ago, basically.
Literally, yeah,
Amazing.
It's a really good idea, though. So how did you? So it seems like you've taken care of the back end more, and now it's more of the front end,
Right,
getting the word out. Hence why you're
getting the
here.
accessibility. So building something is so hard. You can never know what's going to happen. So like, we had iOS developers that delayed the project like 6 months, and then we had to like start on iOS
Damn
again from
techies.
scratch.
They're always
Yeah,
the same.
but
And how did you get your funding? Because I think that's one of the biggest questions I get from people who are entrepreneurs and starting up is how do I get access to capital?
pretend like you're never going to get capital, and it'll just come.
So it's like dating.
It's just like
just like
you never
dating.
find somebody when you
I don't
want to
need
find
you.
somebody.
You're not hot. Yeah. Is that what you did with all those VC people? Like, yeah, you're cool, but whatever.
So one thing that I've actually learned throughout this process, and it's been a long process, is never expect anything. When you actually don't need it, that's when you're going to get it. So once we got to a point where we didn't really need the funding anymore, all of a sudden we got some funding. So we're actually raising another round of capital right now. We're just probably starting January 1st. We're gonna
And now you have a video to show them.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
This video.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, this video. Yeah. Oh, I was quoted in Inc. magazine the other day too, so that was pretty cool. We're doing some like slow marketing, but I'm saving all the big pushes for after we have iOS because I know that's the most important thing right now.
Right.
It's definitely the most.
So a lot of people in the tech world are worried about, not worried, but are very conscious of gender diversity, ethnic diversity in the companies. You're a tiny startup and you're brand new, but are you starting to think about those things about women in tech and diversity in tech and how you're going to bring that into your startup?
Yes and no. Yes and no. I think if you have to think about it, that's what causes the issue. I think it should just be automatic. I just hire based on skills. You know, I don't care what color or ethnicity or race or gender you are. It's literally each individual person has their value, and that value is what we're looking for.
So, but if you don't, I'm sorry to play on gender roles, but women do most of the shopping.
Women do most
of the shopping.
I'm
so
not
if
gonna
you
lie.
don't have a woman on
we
the
get a lot of
payroll,
feedback.
how are you supposed to know how your app should look like?
I'm not gonna lie. I ask my wife a lot. I ask my wife a lot, and she's an iPhone user too. So I'm like, hey, take my Android phone and tell me what you like and don't like. Tell me what features we need to implement.
That's the whole point of diversity in tech. If you
Yeah.
don't have people
Yeah.
from certain key demographics among your ranks,
You'd be surprised.
you're gonna miss out.
You'd be surprised. A lot of online shoppers are actually men.
I'm like a
Yeah,
brutal
like
online
60,
makes
shopper.
like 60 to 70% are
That
online are
actually
men.
makes sense because you guys want to just when you go to the mall, you want to like sit in the chair and
I
not.
don't want to leave my house.
I like
Go to the mall.
that chair.
My husband's a good shopper, actually. So tell me, I'm pretty happy with Amazon. I also use Google, the shopping function on Google whenever I'm trying to
Okay,
compare
yeah.
and contrast. So for somebody like me who is an online shopper, why should I switch to your platform? What's the hook?
2 reasons. Number one, it's just so much easier. Everything is on your phone in one place, so you're not looking everywhere.
Shipping deals?
You literally check out through the brand. So if you find something that Amazon sells, you don't even check out through us. You check out through Amazon.
So it's like
Type you
kayak.
there.
Sort of, yeah. It's kind of like kayak. Yeah, no,
Kayak for shopping.
That was the perfect. Yeah, no, exactly. That's number one, and number two is points and prizes. So you get rewards for using Sharebert, and you don't get rewards for shopping on it. You get rewards for using it, for your time spent using it, and for sharing cool things like cool finds with friends. And those
What kind of reward?
you get points, and then those points can be exchanged for I think right now our biggest prize that you can get is a 4-day Disney vacation for 2.
Wow.
That's where I'm going today.
I used to sing at Disney
Really?
when I was in high school.
Of course you did.
I worked at Disney too, so.
No way, really? Because he grew up near Disney.
Yeah, we were talking about that before,
Yeah, we're all Disnoids here.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So what advice do you have to budding entrepreneurs? Because this whole show is about millennial economic empowerment. How did you do it? How did you go from Disney to developing your own app?
You have to have a vision, and you have to have just absolute nonstop passion. If you're not completely never-ending passionate about what you're doing, you're not going to do it. If you're afraid to risk someone else's money or risk your own money or risk your time, or you're afraid to not be able to buy that, upgrade your car the way you wanted to, so you're going to divert your attention and not take a big risk and do something, then you're not passionate enough about it to do it to begin with.
And who are your competitors? I mean, is there are there
Kayak?
Wish. Have you heard of Wish?
No.
Yeah, most people haven't. They're worth $8.5 billion. They're worth more than JCPenney's, Sears, and Macy's combined.
Wish?
Wish. They sell directly from Chinese manufacturers. They're an app. So it's like Amazon, but all the stuff from China.
Oh, I did have that app once upon a time.
So you're competing with
Yes.
30 days for them to deliver a
You
product
have
to
to
you.
be very patient because it's coming from China. Yeah, of course.
So you're the American version of this.
Yeah, except you're buying brand names. You're buying from
bless
Amazon,
America.
Dunkin' Donuts, and it's
Yeah.
shipping overnight.
So I'd like to invest when this is over.
Look, you have some more capital.
Okay, we'll talk. We'll talk. You'll talk. I'll let you talk to the finance team.
So before we leave you, what was the biggest challenge getting this off the ground?
The biggest challenge, I think, is finding the right people who are going to be as passionate about what you're doing as you are. And if you can't find them, who cares? You don't need them. You can do it.
Do it all on your own? You're like an entrepreneurship ninja?
I can't do anything on my own. No, we had 21 people at one time. I think we have 15 employees right now, hardcore guys who work every day, all the time.
15. That's significant for a startup.
Yeah.
Especially when that launched a few weeks ago.
They believe in it, and most of them have believed in it for a long time. They've been working on it for a long time, and we have a great team of people who are really dedicated. And when you look at giant companies, look at even Apple. You got Steve Wozniak. Right? Most people don't know who Steve Wozniak is. Just so you guys know,
Steve.
he was a co-founder of Apple. Just so you guys know, he's somebody who's passionate about the product, and those people become the executive level. That's just.
Well, I am
what it is.
inspired today.
Yeah, he is inspiring.
Yes.
Ali Mahvan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Live your best life, Ali.
Thank you. You guys are inspiring. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Next up, we have the founder of Streamlined Media and Communications, a company that fuses advertising, marketing, technology, and media. Darren Martin is here, and he's joined by Melvin Taylor, a contributor to Bold TV. Greetings to the both of you. Darren, tell us about your company.
Yeah, so Streamlined Media and Communications is a parent company, actually. So it connects cultures and generations through well-produced ideas. So we are now building 3 larger companies. One is Streamlined, the full-service media and communications agency. And then we have Bold Culture, which is a multicultural communications agency.
Bold Culture?
Bold Culture. So we're twins. We're cousins. And Streamlined Media Group, which is providing space and opportunity for multicultural creatives as well as entrepreneurs. So we're doing a lot over at the Streamlined camp. Yeah.
Your website is very impressive.
Thank you. My chief creative officer. is
It
watching
took a
this.
lot of time to create that.
Yeah, it
Makes
did.
me a little dizzy as an older millennial. But it is.
We're fixing that. Yeah, it took a while. We've been in iterations and iterations of messaging and who we are, of course, as a startup. We founded Streamlined Media and Communications in 2016, but Streamlined, the agency, has been here for 5 years or so.
So you said initially that part of your purpose
Mm-hmm.
is to connect generations and different cultures. Tell us a little bit more about that, because that's really interesting to me. I think millennials are so interested in companies that have a bigger purpose than just selling.
Oh, for sure. So working in the media industry, I've been the only black male, the only black man, but also many times the only, I'm 24 now, so 22, 23-year-old in the company with executives talking, making decisions.
Do they take you seriously at 24?
Honestly, they had to. I had to make them at certain points, and that's by my ideas and my creativity and the experience that I bring to the table. But it was hard starting off, but I've been doing this since honestly 11, and so it's just been a continuation and a growth ever since from Atlanta when I went to Morehouse College to moving
You
to
started
New York.
working on this when you were 11 years old?
Yes, actually. Well, not this, but I've been working in media, advertising, marketing since 11. My father founded a media company or production company. And from there, I learned, social when that was just kicking off on MySpace.
Yeah.
What is that now? What is that?
Oh, no, we know what that is.
And
Still around?
yeah, I think it
I
is.
hope my
It
page isn't
barely.
there
I
anymore.
have
Yeah.
a sketchy MySpace
Yeah.
profile somewhere in existence.
So just like all millennials, I grew up with social, but I
Yeah.
infused a way to tell stories to make money with businesses doing that. And so I've been doing that since 11.
So, Melvin, how did you two meet? This is actually a Facebook question, believe it or not.
Funny enough, we met in the IRTS program. It's the International Radio and Television Society. It's a fellowship program that brought both of us to New York City, helped us to get internships into the media industry. And from there, it was me, Darren, and about 22 or 23 other people that we just kind of got to see the inside of the media industry. So we got to go to the HBOs and the Foxes and the ABCs and the NBCs and see what it looked like on the other side of the camera and in the offices. And from there, we've just been in touch, and I've been able to see the growth that Darren has made since then. So
yeah, for sure.
One of the things that I think is most fascinating about the time that we're living in, especially being our age, being millennials, is the disruption that's occurring in every sector. Disrupting in politics, disrupting in energy and technology, but especially in media. And some of it's positive, right? We've got things like Bold that are online and are positive, but some of it, as we've seen with the sexual harassment cases, in a lot of the mainstream media outlets, it's kind of disturbing. So what can you, as young business owners, as young men in media, what do you think that we can all do to sort of change the tone that has been set when you start to see some of the stuff that went on? It's pretty gross.
Yikes.
Pretty bad.
I think it's bringing it to the light, right? I think people, especially women, are becoming comfortable, but we should not take out the men who have been also assaulted or harassed at the workspace. But definitely, I think garnering space for those conversations and accepting those conversations is definitely important. As business owners, as people within the business, we have to create values that people, grab onto and attach to. And by creating those values, we hope to build a better workplace. But I do believe it's making people feel comfortable to come to someone and say, hey, this happened to me. It's a very personal story. So I think it's making people feel comfortable and setting values and expectations of all employees, of all partners.
I think you're totally right. It is about
Disruption is a beautiful thing, especially when it's getting out people who are capable of doing that to their fellow employees.
For sure. And then you have the old guard, as you would say, leaving out, and you believe millennials are more, value-based and purpose-driven. And so it's going to be definitely interesting to see this new wave of generation take over the workplace.
How do you feel now that you've seen the underbelly of the media folks? What do you feel about it?
I'm very excited for it. I'm very excited in the fact that it's going to open up more opportunities for people who they haven't had those before, because now you get to get out some of those people who did not have the best values at heart, and now you get to put people in position who do and who want to see people succeed. So I think it's a good time that these things are happening, so that way we can move them out of the way and put in people such as Darren and such as you guys who see the change that's coming and want to be a part of it.
So give us like an inspirational story. You're in a startup. You founded your own business. It's
Short
so hard to do
inspirational
it.
story. We're
Yeah,
running
give
out of
us-
time.
Give us a short inspirational story. Leave the viewers with something.
You know, I think that this is a dream that I've had for years, and it's just now starting to build out and expand. And so my inspirational story or tidbit is just to keep going, to make the right decisions, to put the best team in place, to trust your team and go from there. Don't let anyone erase or, take you away from your dream. It's all you have. That's all you have.
That's so great.
Perfect way to end.
you.
Darren Martin and
you.
Melvin Taylor, thank you so much for joining
Thank
us.
you.
No problem.
All
Merry
right.
Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Next, we have our featured author as part of our weekly Bookstr segment. Bookstr is a website for book lovers and much more. Check them out on Facebook. This week's author is Carla Moore, author of Crash, Leading Through the Wreckage. The book tells Carla's story from small-town Tennessee girl to the moment when she got into a car wreck. Her journey spotlights the importance of personal transformation and what role that plays in improving leadership. Carla is, of course, joined by Sarah Hill, CEO and co-founder of Bookstr. Welcome to you both, ladies.
Welcome.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me.
This is an amazing story. You have to tell us about it.
Thank you. So it's actually an honor to be here to share that with you. It was about 10 years ago, and 10 years into my HBO career. And I was just traveling normally like everyone else does. I'm on the road 3 or 4 days a week. And literally within minutes of leaving the airport, I crashed head on into a concrete median at 55 miles an hour, no seatbelt, in a convertible. And it was on the emergency room table when I realized if I would have died today, I would have died not living the life I'd imagined. So because of that, at that moment, I was north of 350 pounds, single, turning 40, still single, no kids. And despite my MBA, despite all my career and academic achievements, I had not lived the life I'd imagined. I wanted to lose 100 pounds, run a 5K, travel, do it all. And
You
guys,
look amazing now, honey.
let me tell you guys, I did that in 1 year right after. The next day I made the decision to live that life. And it happened. And my leadership changed too.
You said that I read some stuff on you, and you say that as you transformed, people around you started to transform as
yes.
well. I'm like so curious to hear what.
Yes, it was actually pretty amazing. As I started to grow and expand, so did the people around me, at home, in life, at work. My sales territories started to grow exponentially. My team members started to get promoted quicker. It was a cascading effect of people around me also wanting to grow and expand and get better. It's a beautiful experience, and it's still happening. It's still happening today.
It's hard. It's difficult to grow, right? What
Absolutely.
was like you said that you realized you weren't living the life that you wanted, right? How do people tap into if they're living their truest life?
That's a fantastic question. I get it all the time. And first, you have to have a sense of what that is. And when I say to leaders today, and again, this idea that personal transformation is a leadership transformation comes from you have to have a sense of who you are, what you are here to do, what you're in it for, so you can release the need to compete and prove, and then use that energy to help others find success. So this notion of knowing who you are, I literally, the next day after that car crash, wrote down the things I wanted most for my life. You have to know what that is about yourself and start telling yourself the truth about who you are and why you don't have it yet. Then my book actually shares those principles, those transformation principles for how you can get there, how you can get to your passion, your purpose, your power.
Are you on Audible? Is your book on Audible?
Not yet.
You have such a great voice. I'd love to listen to your book on
Everybody
Audible.
says that, it's funny. I've always thought I had this deep,
No, you have
manly
a great
voice.
No.
Thank you, but I studied communication.
No, it's
and broadcasting.
melodic and soothing. Like,
Is
I'd
it?
love to hear your book on
They say-
Audible.
They say in the South I could preach. Now, I don't think. No,
Good. But let me ask you, I'm interested. So you have an amazing story, an amazing book, inspirational story, but you've climbed your way up the corporate ladder, and you're at the top of sales of HBO. You're a woman of color in a major corporation, which I think is phenomenal. For the young millennial women who are watching this, give us some advice about how you go up
Yeah,
that
that's a
corporate
Facebook
ladder.
question. Yeah.
Yes,
What's the first step, Carla?
I have to say, and again, I share this everywhere I go. I only am where I am today because of the people who have helped me, people who've believed in me, people who've poured into me, and building a network, a group of people who support me. So one of the very first things that I encourage junior level executives, millennials, start building your network now. Start connecting with people who believe in you, and seek their advice for how to grow, how to expand, how to develop your talent or whatever your skill is. You cannot be at work every day and not have a group of people who are supporting you and who are representing you in boardrooms that you're not in. You want people to say your name when you're not in the room.
Yeah.
So building that network very early is critical and essential for success, quite frankly.
Yeah, I totally agree. So tell us a little bit more about Bookstr and what's hot on the market right now. What are you focused on?
Right now, I'm really focused on maintaining our traffic until over the holidays.
That is an uphill battle.
Yeah, it is an uphill battle. But yeah, Bookstr is around to help showcase, authors.
And you're going to have Carla on your show for sure.
I know. I already told you.
Talk about it. She's fantastic.
It's like, oh my God, you have to come on. So yeah, I think, for us, particularly in the new year, we're focusing on, how to be your best self and motivate books that are motivating. And that does really well with our audience. And really, yeah, I think, this story is a perfect example of people who are living their lives, they're unhappy, they might, or content or whatever. And I know growing up in Texas, I had this feeling like I could do more with where I am and what I'm doing. And kind of like your story, it's different. I didn't have like a real wake up call, but I did like change my life drastically to pursue my dreams. So.
But, question, because you're focused on these sort of inspirational books, which is amazing, but I feel like the average American, if you go around right now, feels like the country is in such a divisive mood. But yet your sales and your book and these inspirational stories are doing so well. So it seems like a really interesting juxtaposition that we've got sort of this dire feeling, a lot of people politically, both sides of the aisle, but people are still drawn to these inspirational stories. So how do you think your story and what you're doing can help change the political discourse in America?
That's a great question.
It is.
Damn, Morgan.
It's fantastic.
Drop my game.
So I'll just jump in.
No.
I actually believe, and I've said this years ago, people are looking to live higher. People are reaching for higher planes. And yes, we have this discord and we have this divide in the nation. It's making people say, okay, so what are we really doing here, guys? How are we really going to serve the world and elevate the world? And so these stories connect to folks. People see their story in mine and want to elevate and raise.
Yeah, I would say when I was
People around
starting out the Bookstr audience, which is now at 3.5 million people, I focused on how to connect people. So I wasn't focused on like, hey, what's, the dividing factor. I was like, there's some universal elements that most people can relate to. How can I connect people through that and show them stories that say, hey, we're all very similar. Even, if you're from Texas or New York, like you can agree on this concept, whatever that might be, or that this poem is beautiful, or that this book speaks to you. Why is Harry Potter such a phenomenon? Because it has some universal elements in it that, we've tried to capture through Bookstr, and that's what I would say.
My subtitle, Leading Through the Wreckage, this idea that we discussed crash moments, of course, and crash moments are those times that hit hard in your life, and they can actually take you down, or they can fuel you to a better, a more elevated self. The wreckage could be anything, a sudden loss of job, pass over for promotion. There's a lot of wreckage in our personal lives. So this book is about engaging leaders of in all areas, in all industries, to dig deep and grow personally so you can grow people around you, your team, and your business.
Well, I feel like I could conquer the world after that.
I feel like I should go to Carla's church. Like, I'm feeling refreshed and ready to go.
That's fantastic,
That's
Mr.
good.
David. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Carla. We look forward to seeing you on Bookstr in the new year.
Yes, for
when
sure.
Your book comes out.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, keep watching Bold, because coming up next, we welcome a vice president and client portfolio manager for Federated Investors, which is a global investment manager. Jordan Stuart is here to talk about technology's impact on economic growth. We've been talking about that today, and how Amazon and other e-commerce are actually creating new jobs. Welcome to the show, Jordan. We are so glad to hear that millennials are not killing the economy.
Right. For those who are worried about growth in the economy, worried about this stagflation that we've heard about, there's no growth out there because we're aging, just tune in right here. This is fantastic. The innovators, people taking ideas, creating businesses. These are the Carnegies. These are the Rockefellers. They are creating economic growth. This is real. These are jobs that are being created.
So the future's bright. This is like such a revolutionary thing.
It's excellent.
Right now Morgan was talking about how divisive, the world has become, and we don't talk to each other.
That's right.
And we have a very dismal view on the future. That's not the case, is it?
No, technology enables small businesses to start to communicate with each other. We've seen a couple guests here that come on that have problem-solving ideas that will grow businesses, save businesses, create more jobs. Think about what Amazon's done in the retail space. We all think about, they're displacing jobs in the brick-and-mortar businesses. But what Amazon's doing is the same business model what Sears did with the catalog. They just made it easier, more transparent, and you can go through the store. What Walmart did, Walmart took scale, and they have now a store within 5 miles of 90% of the population. That's phenomenal. And to the point, Amazon and e-commerce has created 400,000 jobs. While we've lost 140,000 jobs in the retail sector. That's unfortunate. But if you include some of the logistics and the warehouses and the fulfillment centers we see outside in Jersey, it's actually been a net positive effect.
So, Jordan, first of all, I love the whole look. You look like an investor. And I love that. My husband would totally wear that tie. It's really good. What kind of companies are you investing in? Are you investing in public companies only, or are you angel? I mean, what stage are you
Sure,
in?
we're public investors. We invest a lot in IPOs and companies that need capital, that need to grow. But what I think
There's a lot of entrepreneurs here.
Exactly. Right, we're happy to meet with them. But what I think is important about these entrepreneurs is, and what we do is it's people. It's people behind the business. We joke about MySpace versus Facebook. What's the difference? On paper, they're the same business model, but the people behind that business created it. They had a passion for that business. They had an idea. They solved a problem, and now we use it every day. Think about Uber. Uber is a simple app that's free. We use it every single day to get here. We're broadcasting on Facebook Live, potentially reaching billions of people.
That's amazing. But one of the things, though, about the technology space that I know that worries a lot of people is people who are 21 years old in college and studying this feel pretty agile to move into different industries. But if you're 50 or 60 years old and your job has been outsourced, you're not necessarily sure how to get that new training or how you fit in this new economy. So what would you say to people who aren't actually sure how they get trained and fit into this new economy?
So look, whether we've gone from agrarian economy to a manufacturing economy to a service economy, the reason the human species is so successful and we've progressed is we're able to adapt, we're able to change. People solve problems. Again, all the people who've come on here today are solving problems that I would have never thought of, and they're interesting, and they're hiring people from that. So the individuals that are anxious that maybe I've had a trade for years and years, explore your passions, explore what you're interested in, solve problems. Think about, I explained to my daughter what we do is we fund ideas. You want to solve a problem, you hate traffic, start Waze. You dislike the way things are in shopping and how you get tired of going to malls, create the business that was mentioned previously. These are all great businesses that solve problems and solve a problem, put capital at risk, and that creates jobs and wealth.
I love that.
I love it too. So how do you view the economic landscape right now?
Sure. Yes.
Because you have a long-term view that you view economic growth as a runaway train. But how about right now, next 2-3 years?
I think there is. We've been sitting on a coiled spring for some time. There's a few reasons that we've had some slow growth. One, demographics. We're an aging population. But I think glass half full here, where you have millennials, Generation Z, anyone born past 1980, are becoming the largest portion of the workforce. They're starting businesses.
Yay, us.
They hadn't done that previously.
Grandma here.
But they're starting businesses, they're creating wealth, they're creating jobs, and the economy is going to look a lot differently than it did 10, 15 years ago. And that's good, that's progress, and it's just now starting to impact the overall economy. You're starting to see wages increase, businesses start up again, and that's all positive, and we're very positive about the economy.
One thing though, do we have time for one more?
Yeah, the tax reform legislation question.
Oh, that's actually what I was going to ask. So there you go. So tax reform should pass this week. It's supposed to pass this week. So how is this new legislation going to impact businesses? And if you have time, tell me what you think about the NAFTA trade agreement and.
Geez, Morgan.
Sorry. Sorry to get wonky.
Sure. No, look, the tax reform is, in general, look, there's winners and losers. There's going to be pros and cons to any legislation. But what it does, which will impact the economy positively, is it will get corporations that have been sitting on cash. 15% of balance sheets are sitting on cash right now, highest levels ever. Put that cash to work. Bring it back to the country. Invest in
It's
employees.
a permanent tax cut. I mean,
It
that's
is.
what's so revolutionary about
Yes.
it. This doesn't expire.
And it's going to impact, think about at this point in the cycle as well, you're not going to build a new plant. You're maybe not going to add additional capacity, but you're going to invest in productivity. You're going to invest in software to make your business more efficient. When your business gets more efficient, wages rise, the business increases. That's a positive thing. On the NAFTA side,
Free trade in general.
We'll see. In general, free trade is good. I think
Yay, I'm happy to hear someone saying that.
we'll leave it at that then.
Yes, well, perfect. So, Jordan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Our next guest is Dr. Markus Lemmens. He's the director of Eucor, the European campus. Eucor is a tri-national consortium of 5 universities on the Rhine River in Germany, France, and Switzerland. Dr. Lemmens is the director of the North American Liaison Office for the University of Freiburg in Germany and Eucor. How you doing?
Very well, thank you for having me.
I hear tuition's a lot lower in Europe.
Oh,
Are the
very
rumors
much.
true?
Yeah, very much. So parents love us, kids love us because we don't have any tuition. We have service charges, but no tuition fees, in the US on a very high level. So this is one of these advantages we have there.
Do you have courses in English over there?
Of course, we are more and more offering English taught programs. And for instance, the University of Freiburg delivered and shaped a very attractive program. This is the University Liberal Arts College, a 4-year bachelor program fully taught in English. You can start from scratch and be ready.
I've been to Freiburg. It's a beautiful place.
It is indeed. So you have the Black Forest, and the good thing is you can immerse in 3 countries, 3 different cultures, France, Switzerland, and Germany. And that gets you a lot of opportunities to enrich your experience, and you learn how to teach, how to learn, how to study and do your apprenticeship because we have very lots of companies around. We call most of these the hidden champions. They do nice little things everybody's using in her daily or his daily life, but nobody knows these companies. And these companies are around the 5 universities, and you can do an internship, and it's pretty good for your upcoming career.
So you sit in the North American office, and what are you marketing to get American students to go to Germany, or what's the pitch to?
The pitch is we have 4 goals. The usual business is looking after the alumni, inviting these people, doing fundraising. We got a decent donation by an American foundation to the University Liberal Arts College in Freiburg, which is good. Second, we develop research collaboration, so invite American and Canadian, I'm responsible for the Canadian market as well, invite research institutions to have an eye on us and develop collaborations. Third is pretty interesting to do some recruiting. Say, look, come to Germany, come to France, come to Switzerland. It is not an alternative, but it's a very good piece to your career. Come for a year or 1.5 years.
People do their masters
Who
over
doesn't
there.
want to go to
then.
France for a year or Germany for a year? I mean, that sounds pretty amazing to me.
Yeah, and the
I need
fourth.
another degree. I could use a 3rd master's.
And the 4th thing is we create startups. So I'm very happy what I heard before. So we encourage and inspire students from the bachelor level up to their PhD, think in alternatives. Do something what is probably a good idea for creating a startup.
So
Fantastic.
we have a question from Facebook. How does the education system compare over there to here, especially as it relates to higher education?
It's a little bit complicated, to be honest. It's not a very smooth way to get your high school degree here. The best way is you have an international baccalaureate, because then you have a good.
We have that in my town. You had that.
That could very be good. Yeah.
Too. IB program.
Then
yeah.
your scores should be relatively high, but there is no miracle behind that. So the best thing is Facebook should send me an email. We are very personally driven, so we meet and talk to the people. I give advice who likes to come over. I can show the best way. The systems are not very comparable because, you know, it's a very structured system in the US. We teach a little bit more the free thinking, learn to think, but in the end, we call it the Bologna process, which is a harmonized process among the 28 European states. We create a higher education market, and that means it is much more structured. We have the similar degrees, bachelor, master, and so it's better now than 2 decades ago.
So your undergraduate students have seen a real transformation in Europe. They've lived through Brexit, right? They've lived through, of course, Trump's election, but from a European perspective, seeing all of the separatist movements. How do current college students in Europe feel about the future of the European Union and the future of NATO? All things that have really come into question in the past few years.
Ooh, politics, Morgan.
which
She's
I
pulling
never
out the
thought it
big
would.
guns here.
Well, thank you so much for this question, because we
Well, I want to
think.
know what your students think, yeah.
Yeah, the students are very pro-European. So one of our grown-up child in the European Union, the UK, always was a little bit complicated. Now, I want to leave the family. We do our best. Probably it's not the end of the story.
It's like you spent some time there from the way you speak.
Yeah, thank you. So, and the students are very pro-European, and they want to keep this whole endeavor alive. And the best thing is the new President of France, Emmanuel Macron, he's about to launch a European university. He says there could be a new, let's say, foundation, a new inspiration of the European idea from the bottom of the higher education system.
great.
And that is why we need the millenniums and all the young people.
Well, I mean, they're touting unity in their structure because this is 5 universities spread across 3 countries. How did you guys even make that work? It's hard to partner with another person, forget a university.
So great. We started 2016 with the whole program. That was a long development towards this consortia, but we got a European contract by the end of 2015, and the North American office is part of that. So we have lots of work to do to get the administration work go, because one thing is interesting. We call it the 5-Star Alliance. You get a ticket to one university and you are able to pick all courses. You get all the credits. The scientists are able to use the lab facilities among the 5 universities. And yeah, there is something to do by the end of next year. It's our phase 1 finalized. And one interesting thing is we will come with a delegation September 16 next year, starting in Washington, New York, Boston, ending in Toronto, and come with our vice presidents for innovation and show what the best startups might be. So we want to show to the American audience, to academics, to students, and we'll let you know.
Americans love entrepreneurs, so you're in the right place.
Dr. Markus Lemmens, Director of Eucor, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So next up, we have the founder and CEO of Sourced Adventures, Kyle Davidson. Kyle's company has grown significantly since its founding, and last year he was named one of the Outdoor Industry Association's 30 under 30 founders and influencers. Fun topic, Kyle.
Yeah, thanks.
Fun industry. So tell us about it.
Well, we're an adventure travel company. We really specialize in local day trips out of New York City, Boston, Washington, D.C., and Chicago.
Here's your audience right here.
I'm an adventure traveler. I'm going to Kenya in a few months.
Oh, my.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So how would we use your service? How do David and I sign up?
So you go to our website, sourcedadventures.com, and we have a whole list of trips, and all the trips are produced by us. We have a full team of tour guides that we...
Family friendly as well, if people have kids?
It's family friendly. Well, most of our trips, some of them include alcohol, so...
Not family friendly.
That's family friendly. Depend on what family you're in.
But It's really simple. You come and book a trip, and then you show up for the bus in the morning, and one of our friendly tour guides are waiting there for you. And then we go on all kinds of different adventures. We do a lot of, in the wintertime, ski trips. So we run a few different buses to different mountains, Hunter Mountain, Mountain Creek. We do a 2-night Mount Snow overnight in southern Vermont. We do night snow tubing and brewery. That's maybe like the little less friendly family one. But we'll leave actually like in the afternoon and go night snow tubing. And afterwards go to a local brewery for some dinner and drinks.
Morgan, are you a good Floridian? Do you know how to ski?
So I know how to water ski. I very well.
You are a very good Floridian.
I started water skiing when I was like 6 years old. I attempted to snow ski last year. I was okay. Actually, there's a good day trip. You can go to Scranton, Pennsylvania. They have some good mountains there. So I'm going back to Sun Valley in January.
Yeah, that's where I learned how to ski. Awesome.
Did you?
And me have so much in common, Sun Valley, Idaho. So adventure tourism. How'd you think of the idea? Where'd you come from? Let's hear a little bit about Kyle.
My background is in the travel industry. I started off as a full-time tour guide in San Francisco. I used to work for a company where we do Yosemite camping tours and day trips to wine country and Muir Woods and stuff like that. And then from there I moved to New York. And when I moved to New York, I started working at Living Social, which
of course
everyone remembers Living Social.
I bought a bunch of those.
So Living Social was like the big kind of daily deal competitor to Groupon. We raised like almost $1 billion, and part of that diversifying their product from Groupon and the other daily deals companies was to build actually an in-house adventure travel division. So I ran the New York market for our in-house adventure travel division, which is our biggest market, and we scaled the concept, this idea of like taking people on local trips to 30 markets around the world, and Living Social, obviously, there were some changes to the business that's now owned by Groupon, and our division was long gone.
That's an easy way to get rid of your competition. Buy it. Yeah.
So that kind of led me down this path of building local adventure travel products and things that people really just who live in cities can escape the city with, right? So if you don't have a car in New York City, or maybe you don't want to use your car, or it's hard to carpool, it's hard to get discounts on Lyft tickets, and all the different resources and things you have to kind of group together to get out on a trip usually costs you a fortune. And so what we do is we bundle all these things together. We leverage our group buying power to get cheap prices for everybody. And usually it's like a really fun day trip because you get to meet other like-minded people.
This is New York focused. So
we started in New York, yeah. So the idea started in New York, and we built out the New York market. And then we sort of now have expanded to Boston, DC, and Chicago, which are all going really, really well. So even in cities where people maybe have more access to transportation or like their own car or something, we find that it still really has a lot of value for those folks just because, first of all, if you could have a couple beers at the mountain and not worry about driving back. You could come on one of our wine tours, and we're kind of your designated driver. Our snow tubing and brewery bus, and that's the local side of it. And then the other side of it is we also run international programs in Iceland, Mexico, and Nicaragua.
Oh, I love Iceland.
Yeah.
It was great.
I love Mexico and Nicaragua.
I haven't been to Nicaragua.
Nicaragua's
Mexico,
a great travel destination.
I have a friend going over New Year's.
Yeah, there are lots of volcanoes. Best volcano tour I've ever taken in my life.
Really?
Yeah. Almost got killed by the gas and went to a bat cave. But that's a story for another day. So, Kyle, what do you have to say to entrepreneurs? What's your advice?
Wow. I mean,
budding entrepreneurs like yourself, you look like a millennial.
Yeah.
Right on your face, right?
Yeah.
There. That young face.
Yeah. How'd you guess?
Yeah. It was the beard gave you away.
Yeah.
I just need the hipster bun now.
Well, I used to have one, actually.
Oh, God. Thank
so
God.
I cut it. Yeah.
The age of the man bun is over, Kyle.
Oh, really?
I know.
Okay.
I mean, look, I saw the trend coming and I saw it leaving, and I had to kind of follow suit. I mean, my advice is, I think there's different advice for different paths you're wanting to take. We're totally bootstrapped. We haven't raised a single dollar. So,
Wow.
So
That's impressive, yeah.
I think for us, the advice I'd give to someone raising money to build a business and the advice I'd give to someone bootstrapping a business are maybe different pieces of advice. I think they're both, it just really depends what type of business you're building. I was really lucky that I kind of almost in a way kind of inherited this concept that we already had sort of validated. So we knew what the numbers looked like, we knew what the margins looked like, and we could build a business that way.
Oh, you had the courage to do it.
But you had the courage to do it. Yeah, I would say like just go for it really is I mean it's maybe the simplest thing you could say, but take risks and go for it. And honestly, if you have the passion, if you really believe in your product, at the very worst case scenario, you'll fail in some way that'll teach you how to succeed on the next one. So I'd say just go for it. I mean, I think the biggest thing holding people back is just worrying about the consequences or whatever. And I think the other thing is, in my experience, you don't need a lot of money to start a business. You really, really don't. You can get really creative and you can find ways to make it work. So I would say, take risks, but also don't feel as though you need to accomplish this, huge task of raising all this money before you start your business. I think it's very, especially with all the tools available today, it's pretty, I won't say easy, but it's possible to do.
I'm so inspired today.
I know, isn't it
feel like
inspiring? That's the whole point of the
Run
show.
a marathon. After all, maybe not.
You can do that on your own
Yeah.
because I'm.
I'll have a third cup of coffee.
Kyle Davidson, CEO of Source Adventures. Thank you so much
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And
Really
guess what? That does it for this edition of Bold Business. You were amazing.
I'm like your favorite.
You want a
host ever,
part-time
right?
job? You want a part-time job? You want to come by?
I need more of my Century 21 habit.
You had so many titles that didn't even fit into the
But
super
am I your
under thing.
favorite co-host ever?
I mean, I would offend so many ladies. You're up there, though.
I'm the favorite.
You're the favorite. and gentlemen that come on all the time. You're always welcome back here, Morgan.
Thank you very much.
Oh, it's been so nice. A fellow Floridian. So we'd like to
Yes.
send our warm thanks, of course, to Morgan Ortagus. And a big thanks to our hardworking team at GenFKD, Bookstr, Bold TV, and everyone that makes this show a possibility every week. Of course, we're taking a break for the holidays. My luggage is right over there, and I'm going to Florida. And on behalf of all of us, we wish everyone a beautiful holiday season. See you on January 9th, 2018. Bye.
Happy New Year.